Hello and welcome back to Vintage Wine and Pour. Today we've got a very special interview with Alex Bridgeman from the Big Fortified Tasting. What is the Big Fortified Tasting? Well, who better to ask? Alex, what is BFT?
The BFT is, as far as we know, it's the only wine show in the world, which therefore makes it the biggest wine show in the world, dedicated purely to fortified wines, all styles of fortified wines. We know that there are some shows which are dedicated to port, others to Madeira, others to sherry, but we welcome any and all fortified wines at the show.
Brilliant. And what is your role at the BFT?
Probably from when it started in 2010 up to when it last ran in 2016. I came along to meet the port producers and to meet the other producers, to talk to them, to try new styles of wine. In 2017, the show didn't run. And that was due to the sad and untimely death of Ben Campbell-Johnson, who was the show organiser. Elizabeth, my wife, and I were walking one day and we were planning my retirement and what to do when I'd retired, and she just suddenly said, in the middle of a field as we were walking along the Thames, "Why don't you try running it?" So I approached Ben's widow, I approached Ben's former partner, we had some conversations, there were a few other people who were thinking about taking the show on and running the show, but after these conversations I actually took over running it. So Elizabeth and I, fundamentally we are the organisers. We do absolutely everything, whether it's washing bottles, whether it's organising tables, whether it's ironing tablecloths, we do all of that. We do everything.
A man of many hats then.
yes, many hats, frequently having to wear several of them at the same time.
Yes. Has it been more difficult over the last year, having to move online? How's that changed things for the Big Fortified Tasting?
Well, we ran in 2018 for the first time. That was an enormous learning curve. We just didn't have a clue. So we were supported with enormous amounts of goodwill. The producers had missed the show in 2017. They were really keen to see it re-established, and I had so much support from them that it was absolutely amazing. We had Extender, who is the trade promotion agency from Andalusia, who look after Sherry, Montiel, Moriles, Malaga wines. They approached us and supported us. They wanted to continue to work with the Big Fortified Tasting. I had the IVBAM, who are the promotion body for Madeira, for the island of Madeira. They wanted to continue to support the BFT and to work with it. So 2018 was a big learning curve. 2019, we took some of the lessons that we'd learned and we hope we ran a better show. I think we ran a better show. We got very good feedback. We were all ready for 2020, for April 23rd, St George's Day in 2020. And because of COVID, we had to cancel. We actually took a really early decision to cancel. We cancelled in mid-January when quite a few shows were still planning to run, but gradually they all cancelled. I'm really glad we took the decision early, because we were just, you could hear the relief in people's voices as we were phoning people up and saying we're not going to run the show this year. We were in a similar position when we started looking at 2021. We thought we can't run a physical show. We start planning the show in about October, November, and so in October and November last year we were looking at what do we do for April 2021. We've got a date booked. People were ready for it. Producers were aware of the date, but we thought we don't want to risk having a show planned and organised and people dedicating effort and time and money into a show that we then have to cancel at short notice. We didn't want to risk producers flying in from Spain or Portugal and then having to do 2 weeks of quarantine, or even 2 weeks quarantine when they go back. We thought you're just not going to get the producers across. So in November we started talking to the producers about an online or virtual version. We had seen one or two already tried. We understood what worked, what didn't work. There had been a couple of online wine shows where people were presenting wine to an audience and then perhaps sitting at the end of a Zoom screen for a day, in a similar sort of way that in a physical show they'd be standing at a kiosk waiting for people to come along, taste the wines, talk to them. that we got feedback that didn't work very well from the producer's point of view, because the producer had to sit at their desk with a Zoom screen at one end of the desk waiting for somebody, and very few people would actually reach out to the producer to make contact. So we thought, we'll do something that allows the producers to answer questions and have a little interactivity, but in a way that allows them to get on with the rest of their day. So we created a forum. So on the BFT website, we have a page for every producer. Linked to that page is a list of the wines that the producer's presenting in 2021. That linked to either the producer or the wine page is a forum where somebody who's tasting the wine can go in, post a question, and once or twice a day the producer will log on, they will have a look at the questions, they'll answer them, so they can plan their day in order to answer the questions, but to do it in a way that allows them to continue to focus on other things. So in November we went out to producers to say, this is what we're planning on doing. We will put together a show guide, we'll list all the wines that you would like to present, we will set up a forum so people can talk to you about your wines, you give us a video, so that a 30 to 40 second video where you talk about the wine, we'll put that onto the BFT website, we will decant your wines from your bottles into a 5 centilitre sample bottle, we'll put a BFT label onto the sample bottle with a QR code which will link back to the BFT page where we talk about the wine, give a tasting note, give the details for if people would like to buy those wines, and the video. And at the moment we are right in the middle of the process of preparing the bottles, preparing the labels. The wines are coming in thick and fast. We've got a huge stack of wines. We will be decanting the wines with carbon dioxide as a blanket gas to protect them. We're aiming and hoping to get the wines out at the end of March or very early April, but all of that subject to wines being successfully sent from Spain and Portugal into the UK with the new Brexit arrangements in place.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like a lot of logistics that you're trying to wrangle at the moment, but best of luck with it. Sounds like a nice workaround in these difficult times. And what about your personal interest in fortified wine? How did that start? Do you remember your first bottle of port or sherry or anything like that?
I come from a family where we used to drink wine with the Sunday meal, and I used to have a glass of red wine with our Sunday meal. And for years, the family would be sitting around the table, my parents would have a glass of red wine, I'd have a glass of red wine, we'd all be drinking red wine. I didn't realise until I was about 15 that my red wine was 50% water. I was just really happy that I was drinking the same as everybody else. The first real experience I had with port was my 21st birthday. My grandparents took me out for lunch, and at the end of the lunch they produced a bottle of Taylor's 1963 port and poured a glass for us each. And it was lovely. It was such a lovely wine. It was sweet and fruity, but it had layers of complexity to it. And when we'd finished the bottle, I was asked, what did you think of it? I said, I think it's absolutely delicious. Yeah, what is it? And my grandfather's face just fell, because he said, it's a Taylor's 1963 vintage port. We bought 13 bottles when you were born, and we said if you liked it we'd give it to you, but if you didn't like it I could keep it.
So fortunately for yourself, you've started a world of love of port, but unfortunately for your grandfather, he never got to keep the 63 Taylors.
He didn't get to keep them, but he did get to taste quite a few of them.
Good, that's fantastic. Oh well, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Alex. When is the next Big Fortified Tasting? When is the online event?
Well, the online event, we hope to be sending the wines out at the end of March for people to taste when they receive them. And what we will do is we'll keep the forum up and running for 2 weeks, probably the first 2 weeks of April. But it all depends on when we get all the wines in.
Oh, wonderful. So there's a bit of flexibility for people if they've...
there will be.
For their own time. Awesome. And where can we find this? Where's the socials and the website links?
So the website is www.thebft.co.uk. I can't remember our socials.
That's fantastic. I'll research them, and if you're watching this, they'll be on the screen now. Somewhere on the screen will be the website links and all the social links. So go follow the BFT, go check it out, and it's a fantastic event. Thank you once again for joining us, Alex.
Thank you, Andrew.